Today is Tuesday, November 29th, 2022, and we are back for another daily review. As you can see, I did take a trade today on the Nasdaq, caught a nice trade for about 3R, even though it shows a little bit more here. It was about a 3R trade with the partials that I took and everything. And in just a few minutes, I will go over everything that got me to take this trade and why I did not look to be a buyer and instead looked to be a seller. So let's get right into it by starting on the 4-hour chart. So yesterday, at the end of the day, we had this bullish pin bar that reacted off of this demand area. And we said that as it started to push up right here, we said that price may form a high and that if I wanted to be buying this, I wanted to see it try to make a lower low and fail and then push up again, creating bullish structure with an imbalance that I would then buy to take to the upside. Instead, price made this lower high and then right away made an aggressive lower low on the very next candle. And this was before New York open. Right off the bat, we have a very strong indication based on the 4-hour time frame that we should be bearish, and then look at what bearish targets are available to us. Clearly looking left, we can see we have these equal lows at this weekly level, previous week's low, which is above all of this imbalance to the left. So we have great targets to reach for. We have a 4-hour indication that we're bearish. All we need now is lower time frame confluence for timing our entry and reducing the risk as much as possible. So let's jump down to the 1 hour. If we look at the Asia session, we can see we did create a very nice imbalance here above this daily support level that I talked about yesterday. This 11,640 level. Talked about it yesterday and on Sunday. After that imbalance, we had a very slow move over the rest of Asia. And then at the start of London, we spiked the Asia high, created this wick, which turned out to be the high of the day above Asia high, into this resistance area, this order block. Then we came down, formed a swing low off of this imbalance, pushed up again, and then engulfed that swing low, which to me shows that we have absorbed the liquidity at this level. And then on the very next candle, we get a solid break through Asia low. So let's compare how price broke above Asia high with how it broke below Asia's low. Sorry for the drawing. Much stronger break, much stronger candle versus the high here, which barely poked above, had a pretty large wick. So clearly, just based on those two aspects, how the Asia range got broken gives us an indication of which side of the market we want to be on. There's definitely strength to the sell side based on that alone. Now, we did take yesterday's low. So after taking yesterday's low, we do have to be, and this was right before the open, or right at the open, I should say. Right at the open, it took the low of yesterday. So we did have to be on alert for a possible buy setup to, not necessarily to go to new highs here, but just to maybe form a retracement trade. Why didn't I take a long? Well, clearly I've first stated that I'm leaning bearish on the higher time frame, number one. But number two, if we jump down now to the 15-minute, yes, we did have a very strong candle here, this bullish candle. The structure is still bearish, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And this move up here could just be lower high. But there was no just displacement or energetic move. If we go to the 5-minute, this price action here, very crunchy, very wicky, not very dynamic. Yes, we get a solid close above this high, but then the very next candle, we have no follow through. We're just rejecting off of the top of the range. And, all the way down on the lower time frames, similarly, at first I was looking, okay, maybe we could see an area to buy from here. But as this started to push up, you could just see just very weak. This is not what you want to see to confirm strength coming into the market. You want to see very obvious energetic moves to the upside, which is not what happened here. So then it just became about when to time the entry to go short. If we just stick on the 1 minute chart, you can see that we have this high, which made this low. Then we got to push up, created this high, okay, came down, created a higher low. So we expect the market to try to make a higher high always on any time frame that we're looking at. This could be any time frame. When we have a trend and we're looking to maybe be going the opposite way, we want to still respect the trend that we're in. And in this case, we're in an uptrend until proven otherwise. So when price tries to make a higher high here, and then we get this very clean displacement, this impulse to the downside, we can assume that we are failing to make a higher high and that the momentum is going to be resuming to the downside. So as you can see, this is where my entry was. It was based on this imbalance on the 1 minute. And if I very quickly just kind of cycle through the 2 minute, looks very clean as well on the 2 minute. With that gap, if we go to the 3 minute, looks very clean as well on the 3 minute. If we go to the 5 minute, that same entry looks very clean on the 5 minute, where price tried to go higher, huge engulfing order block to the downside, taking out this swing low, entry on the retest. So on all of these lower time frames, we are confirming the same thing. And this is basically my trade plan. I want to see that type of price action on the lower time frame, but I need to see it in agreement with what I'm seeing on the higher time frame, such as the hourly and the 4 hourly, which, as I said in the beginning, we saw with the pre-market activity and what we saw around the Asia range as well. So then price it didn't take long for just a few, less than 15, 20 minutes or so it was, till price hit the target. I got out of the trade, most of the trade around here, and then trailed the remaining contract to over this order block. And then price came back up and took me out. I did take another short trade that I cut early for a very small loss, thankfully. And the reason why I cut it, first of all, I was a little skeptical of taking it just because we hit the liquidity pool on the higher time frame and we can expect some sort of retracement after that. But this was after the lunch hour. We had retraced, hit into this imbalance, and then created a new imbalance to the downside. And at the time, if we could just go to bar replay, I was looking at the 30 minute. Seeing this price action, I felt very comfortable taking a short on a retest here. But we have to remember that the hourly is going to close right after. And when I saw that the hourly came below the previous hour's low, and then as this candle was closing, it looked like it wasn't going to close below. It looked like it was going to basically close as a raid here. So this looked like, we always have to assess, is this a breakout or is this a liquidity grab? Is this a failure to go lower or is it a breakout to go lower? And seeing how the hourly closed after taking the liquidity pool, I now have two signals that we might no longer be bearish in the immediate term. And if we look also on the 5 minute chart, the fact that this gap wasn't respected at all, we kind of tapped into it here. And then once we pushed up here and really closed through the gap here and then had the hourly close, that's like 3 or 4 levels of confluence to suggest that this market is going higher. And I did not want to be short. So that's when I cut it. I think my stop was a little bit, was it here? Somewhere around here. I don't know where it was exactly, but I cut it for about a half or a little under a 0.5% loss, which is fine. We had the winner earlier, And I never like to guess that things are going to reverse. Yes, we thought we might see a retracement, but until we are proven otherwise, which we were proven otherwise, we want to still be going with the pre-existing direction, especially since we had valid targets to aim for below. So now looking ahead into tomorrow, starting at the monthly, tomorrow's the last day of the month. And, we've just wicked into this imbalance. And now if we close kind of around here, forming this kind of indecision candle, the monthly chart would not look weird at all if December pushed down and created another bearish move to the downside. I mean, we are on the monthly just making lower lows and lower highs. So why can't that continue? It doesn't have to, but it's just something I'm going to be favoring if we close right around here. I don't see, looking at the daily now, yes, we're holding this support level, sort of. We're now back below it. I just don't love that we've just been going sideways for so long. It's hard to see that as evidence we're going to create a new trend to the upside. If we do, I'm still eventually going to be looking to short this thing back down. It's just a question of where it turns. But do we roll over here, or do we push up one more time and then roll over? Who knows? I'm just kind of 50-50, but maybe I'm not 50-50. Maybe I'm more 60-40 bearish based on what's been happening the last 3 days. Remember, market made a high, made a higher low, tried to make a higher high and failed, and now it's coming down and it made a lower low relative heat to here. But maybe that just means we're going to make a deeper retracement before going higher. I don't know. Maybe this is just a liquidity grab to the upside. I don't know. We will just watch and see what happens. So that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.